Gary, plenty of positives from your side so far, also a few things to work on. What do you put that kind of level of inconsistency down to so far?
I think a little bit the lads learning the actual standard of the league. We've had some great periods of play in all the games. Like from Tuesday night, we had a fantastic first 30 minutes, I thought 35 minutes until they scored. My disappointment was how we didn't get more effective, although we still created chances. But we lost our shape a little bit in the lads' efforts to go and try and get the game back. But they were trying to get it back individually instead of playing to our system. And although we still created opportunities, unfortunately they got their second one right at the end when we was pressing a little bit. But I've got to take the positives from the first 35 minutes. No one should worry that we're not working on the stuff that we need to work on, like you just said, quite rightly. And every day we're trying to give them something new. But in this league, if you go a goal down, the experience of the opposition will make it very difficult for you to get the game back, because you've seen in all games when we were down how often opposition teams take the time, especially when they're here at Plainmoor. They have got a lot of tactics to see the time out if they're 1-0 up, or even if they're 0-0. But so we're going to have to understand that and be better than that, so that we can break teams down when they, sort of park the buses, as it were.
Yeah, the goalkeeper seems to have played really well in that first half hour, didn't he, against Maidenhead? You mentioned that your team need to learn how to play together as a team. You've got quite a young team. How much of a factor do you think that is this season? You played so well against Bromley, brought it back to 3-2, great fighting spirit. Against Maidenhead, the head seemed to drop after the first goal. How much of that game management can you put down to youth?
Well, you put it all down to youth, because we're a young team, generally. But even our older ones have not necessarily played at this level before. And some of them, when they last played at this level, it didn't go very well for the group. So, we've got to find our feet at this level, definitely. I think what I've seen in certain periods of our games, we have, and I'll maintain, and I won't detract from this, is that we have got a very, very good football team. And if they perform and we get the goals when we first create the chances, the games are all very different, because in every game we've had the first few chances, if you like, on nearly every game, and we've certainly created chances after that. If we look at all our opportunities on Saturday, and we lost the game 2-0, the game could have been very, very different. But this is the level we're at, and if you give opposition a little bit of a sniff, they've got strikers that can score goals with just the one or two opportunities. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. The whole league's going to be inconsistent a little bit, so I think at the moment there's not going to be any runaway teams. There's a couple of teams that have done well. Solihull have kept their form going, but nothing yet where somebody's racing ahead with sort of all maximum points at this stage. So 4 games, we know what we've got, but we need to bring it out more.
Looking at the brutal stats, I have to bring it up. The last 3 games, unfortunately, 8 goals conceded, despite playing well in majority of those games, and certainly for most of the first half against Maidenhead, as you say. How much of a concern is that? And I presume that's your priority on the training pitch, is just tightening up at the back.
Yeah, it's again, if you get stick away your early chances, then that doesn't happen so much. But it's just one of those. It's happening to us at the minute. If it happens all season, you're going to get relegated. So you've got to make sure that you tidy up. It's not any one person necessarily, or one group of people. When we talk about defending, we've got to talk about defending as a group, and when we talk about attacking, we've got to talk about attacking as a group. because centre halves go up for corners, right back, left back, they go and get crosses in. From set plays, your midfielders are back in your own penalty area, your forwards are back in there. So you've got to be careful to not pick out just one person or one sort of group of people. So it's us as a team, that's how we've got to see it. And if we let a goal in, we've all let a goal in. If we score a goal, we've all scored a goal. So we need to... I thought we defended crosses actually quite well on Tuesday night. And because there was a lot came in, and they had a couple of lads up there that, you know, one especially Cassidy, who's very experienced, didn't really get a look in with his head. So, you know, we defended that well. Unfortunately, we made a mistake for the first goal. You know, obviously we might have tidied it up after his shot, but we didn't. And you know, that's down to individual sort of errors as opposed to group errors. So that's what we got to tidy up, those errors that are spread around at the moment. But that's football, and we scored a decent amount of goals, but we could have scored double that quite comfortably. So I'll look at the positives, but you're dead right. We've still got to work on making sure we get a clean sheet as often as possible.
First little sniff of frustration around the ground on Tuesday, probably because, as you say, you know, you're playing well the first half hour, didn't quite go for you, then all of a sudden you're a goal down. Is that a new beast for your team to manage, because they've, you know, you played so well last season? Is that just one more thing that you have to factor in, helping your team develop in coping with the expectation, if you like, at the ground?
Yeah, I think in general the supporters were very supportive on Tuesday night. I think they realised that first 35 minutes their team was, you know, playing like Barcelona, and we only needed to get that goal. So the frustration was the same as mine at half time when you know, I went into the dressing room and at the end of the game, because when they scored, after that the boys didn't seem to be able to play to the same level as they were in the first 30 minutes. So that last 10 minutes after the goal, I thought we were poor, and that carried on, even though, you know, we asked them, you know, to change their mood, change their thoughts, whatever they needed to do, but didn't quite in the second half, although really should have scored in the first minute, do you know what I mean? So it changed them for a minute. But then that frustration, of course, if I feel it, I know the crowd feels it, so I understand, you know, and I'm not putting a team out there to frustrate the supporters. I'm trying to put a team out to entertain them, and when they don't entertain me or the supporters, then people are going to be a little bit frustrated. But listen, there was 3,000 home supporters there. You know, that's got to be fantastic for this club at the moment. And you might get a couple drop off because you think, oh, they're never going to win the league. Well, just remind everyone we've got 42 games left in the league, and there's a lot of really good, entertaining football to come, I promise. And but it's just these lads getting to know that this is a pretty experienced league that we're going to try and do well in, with a, you know, not a totally inexperienced, but a young, enthusiastic, good football team. Because if you've got footballers that have had, you know, can play football like them and have had 300-400 games in the league, then you're paying them quite a few £1,000s a week to play. Do you know what I mean? So we've got a group that I trust. We just got to be a lot more consistent, and we will be. But you know, let's not sort of blame any frustration on the crowd. That comes from the pitch. Do you know what I mean? And we got to thank them for their support. They're travelling all over the place still with us, and you know, we want to give them our best as much as we can.
After the Solihull game, you said you need and you demand to see more. We got a great reaction. That Bromley game, how you didn't quite win it, I don't know, but that's been and gone. I suppose you'll be asking for the same again after this Maidenhead game. Yeah,
you will. You'll be asking for... Part of our review this morning will be the first 35 minutes, and we've got to sort of home in on that to say that this is what you can do. What was you doing differently just because they scored? Because we had enough chances in that first half, even though we came in 1-0 down, to have scored 3 or 4. So go out and do the same again. And we did do that. And we did have, you know, 2 or 3 chances. Again, more than 2 or 3 chances. but they then sucker punch. The lad was offside, but in our half, so obviously that's not offside. But that was just us trying to press to get that, because it was the 90th minute or something, you know. So the second goal was disappointing, but it was because we was going for the equaliser. So that's where we are.
Looking ahead to the Dover game, what kind of a test are you expecting from them? They're riding high. Obviously it's early days, isn't it? But they're riding high. What do you know about their side, how they like to play, and how would you set up to, without giving too much away, how will you set up to counteract that?
Well, I'll tell you that you're going to have to be on your game, because I think they're a well organised team that are in credit because they've had some good wins away from home. You know, they've been doing okay. They beat Chesterfield, I think, and
lost one at home, I think.
Yeah, so. And they beat Barnet on Saturday. So you know they're not they're a difficult side at the moment to play against, because they're all up for it. And again, there's a few in there. They've got two big strikers that they'll tend to hit early, and but they're a little bit of an all-round team, and they're one of the teams that I think will be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. So we're going to need to be on our game to, but we've got a game that will, you know, upset any team if we get it going for long enough.
Travel preparations, it's a long old way to go, isn't it, Dover? Are you going up there and back in the day, or are you going to spend the night there before? No,
the club's been great with that. You know, you can't go to these places on the day. It's impossible. Yeah, we'd have to leave at 6 o'clock in the morning to get pre-match by 11 o'clock and then be ready for the game, and you know it's just not possible. So no, the club are doing their job with that. You know, we anything I think over 3 hours we stay, and I'm not sure that there's too much within 3 hours from here. You know what I mean? No, exactly. And when you're looking at the holiday period as well, you know, and everybody's moving on a weekend and all that, no, you've got to make sure that you do it properly. And our club off the field at this moment in time is certainly doing everything very professionally.
You've had quite a frantic start to the season. For, you know, every Tuesday, every Saturday you've been playing. After the Dover game, that'll be the first time you've had a full week with your lads on the pitch. How important is that as a coach to have a full week behind you to look at things and drill into them how you want them to play, and to work on little nitbits that you want to pick out?
I think it depends on how the last result went. If the last result went well, then you sort of want games to come quickly. If it didn't go so well, although you want them to come quickly because you want to get that out of your head, it does give you time to work on individual bits. But we've had a whole pre-season anyway. You know, that went okay. We was pleased with that, and we've now had 4 games. So I think, you know, as everyone's playing the same amount of games, it's not as though we're playing on a Tuesday and they're not, and then we play some team that's had a break. So, you know, it's you can't really think about that, and you just got to embrace the fact that, you know, you're going to be playing 8 games in August and 7 games in September. You know, so a third of the season will be over at the end of September, which is unbelievable, really. But that's where you have to use your squad. But then you've got to get all your squad performing and individually being ready. But you know, we're still working on that.
I suppose it underlines the importance of pre-season fitness, doesn't it? I mean, coming on to fitness, how's the squad looking ahead of Saturday?
It's looking okay. The one definitely out will be Dicko. You know, Ryan Dixon. He's not ready yet. Liam Davis is definitely not far away. How long have I been saying that for?
5 weeks.
No, but he's not far away, and he's been in full-time training now for the last sort of 5 or 6 days. So and he feels comfortable in himself. Physio's handed him over to us, so you know that puts him very much in the fray.
How much is that going to help, just finally getting an experienced head like Liam Davis back on the pitch, just to help your youngsters out managing those games? Yeah,
well, when selected, yes, it'd be good, because he was a fantastic stalwart for us last year, played in every game. He's gutted that he's missed the start of the season, but he can only play when he's fit, and when we think he's ready, we'll go. We'll go on then. Show us what you showed us last season.